Hey everybody, it's Sandy Weiner from Your Last First Date, from Last First Date, and my friend and colleague Theresa Byrne is here to talk to you today about how she got over 11 marriage proposals. Theresa is, she's pretty awesome. Hey Lori.
Right.
She's a beautiful woman, but there's more than beauty that leads men to want to marry her. So, Teresa, can you share with us a little bit about who you are and why so many men have proposed to you?
I would love to. My name is Theresa Byrne. I am an empowerment mentor. I created a system of power called Empower, and I help people find their power. And Sandy and I are big fans of boundaries, and we have written an ebook together, and we are actually creating a course. We've created a course called Boundaries for Beautiful Relationships. I love your question because if you were to ask me why have 11 guys proposed to me or more, I would, until we started doing boundary work, I didn't realize what the difference was. Until I understood that I held myself differently than most women did, I didn't know. I thought it was a mystery. In fact, it was like a running joke among my friends that I'm not allowed to say yes to any more proposals because the chances are I'm going to get another one in another, after the fourth date or, at the fifth month. So it's been kind of a running joke, and it's something that I've not really talked a lot about. So I thank you for bringing it up.
Let's talk about those 11 proposals. So first of all, for the audience who doesn't know you, you were married before. So it's not like you just turned down every single one of them, but most women do not get, you were married twice.
I said yes
And
twice, so
you
yes.
said yes twice. And I talked to you about this before, and I think I've talked to other people about this, but I didn't get any marriage proposals until my ex-husband proposed to me. So I was missing some of that secret sauce that you have now and that I actually do have now. And that we want the women who are listening to really understand that they can have it too. That it really doesn't matter how old you are, what you look like, how much you weigh, how many wrinkles you have, what your bank account looks like. The secret sauce is so much deeper. And Theresa, you're going to share some of that with us right now.
Yes, and the secret sauce is all about having great boundaries, which allow you to set your own respect for yourself in a way that makes it really easy for a guy to show up. So the first marriage proposal I got was when I was 17. It was before I had gone off to college. It was the summer before I went off to college. And it wasn't as a big deal to me. Like I thought everybody was getting proposed to all the time. I mean, I just thought that's the way it was. When I realized what a lot of women are doing is that they're trying to overplease their partner. They are, what do we call them? People pleasers. They're giving, over giving. And while I love to give, I'm also very clear about what my needs are. And I've always been very good at having hard conversations. A lot of women will avoid conflict or not want to have a tough conversation. And I can have tough conversations in a loving, mature, caring way. Not always. I mean, I've lost my top before too, but the skills or the ways that I've gotten all these multiple marriage proposals, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. Learning how to know what you want and then being able to ask for it or have hard conversations, anybody can learn that, right?
Yeah, anyone can learn it. And before you learn it, you sit there and just wonder why you're not getting the respect and the love that you want. And why do the men that you really like not like you back? And it's so easy with the men you don't like. And because what happens then is that with the men you don't like, there's nothing at stake. So you show up as yourself, you're authentic. And with the men you don't like, I mean, the one men you do like, often you become intimidated, you put them on a pedestal, you lose yourself. And something that came up today in a coaching session that it was just a word that popped into my brain that I loved. And it's how we become amorphous. When we're around people and we're people pleasers, we lose our shape, we lose our form, and we try to adapt to everybody around us. And that makes us amorphous. And so it's like, oh, we can mold her into this. It's almost like those clouds that come in different shapes and, and oh, look, it's an elephant now. And it's, and that's what we do. We, people call it twisting into a pretzel, but it's really not knowing your own shape and form, the parts of you that are inflexible, that are line in the sand, non-negotiable. This is what I absolutely need. And all the rest of the stuff is not important. But if you don't get your needs met, then you end up in terrible relationships. And both of us have experienced that too. But when you know yourself and you know without a doubt, I cannot be in relationships with people if I can't get my needs met, and this is the line in the sand, then the ones who are, men who value you will value you even more. And I just think this is the secret sauce, right?
Right. Well, think about it. If it's like a scarcity mentality, or if it's like a limited time offer, like I can see you, but I can see you on this date or this date, or I'm available here or here. It makes a guy step up into, well, can I do that one or can I do that one? Instead of, oh, I'm available all the time. Tell me what works for you. I was always very clear at when I could see somebody, how much time. And even on first dates, I would just I naturally limit first dates to like 2 hours usually, maybe 2.5, 3 hours if it's a great conversation. But then I'm just like, and I'm done. And a guy is like, what do you mean? You don't want to hang out? No, I'm going to go home and go to sleep now. And I was always very clear about that up front, that I like a kind of a longer courting process. I like a dating process. So I know what I want.
Yeah, I love that, because again, women will go on these 10-hour first dates and spill out their entire life story. There's no mystery. There's too much connection too soon. And we really can't connect in that way. Like imagine, I don't know, like, it's like an instant relationship. It's just not realistic to expect people to be able to even take in all that you're sharing, because it's just like, whoa, system overload, so it's just like really important to love yourself enough to say, okay, I can only give away this much information until I start learning more about you and whether you add value to my life, as well as I add value to yours.
That's another piece of boundaries. It's like asking the question, well, what do you bring to my life? Not just like, hey, I can do this for you, I can do that for you, I'm this girl for you, I'm that girl for you. It's like, well, what do you got? Like, what are you bringing? And you can do this in a way, and you've done this in a way that's really open-hearted and curious. So when you go into that relationship, you can be very open-hearted, very curious about the other person, and ask questions about, well, what do you bring to my life? Like, you can actually ask that kind of thing.
Yeah. And if you know what you want that man to bring to your life also. And I had a client years ago, I was writing her profile, and her old profile was all about what she would do for a man. I will get you concert tickets. I will give you massages. I make a great meal. I will give. And guess who she attracted into her life?
Takers.
Exactly. All the takers. And oh man, this man took all my money. Oh man, this man, he just used me. He was cheating on me. And this is the dynamic that sets women up for feeling used and abused. But what we teach, both of us teach in our practices, is that we teach people how to treat us. And that if you set up your standards and you're really firm about your standards, but remember also to be soft and loving at the same time. This is where I think a lot of women really struggle. What do you think, Theresa?
I think we don't know how to say what works for us or what doesn't work for us. So we wait until we get pushed. I think you're right. I think it comes from anger. Like, no, how dare you? How dare you say that? And in retrospect, most women don't know how that sounds coming across. And, we've talked before about clients that have set a boundary, but it sounds very normal to them, but it's very shut down to a guy. And there's an easy way to ask for choices. This doesn't work for me, but this could, offering those opportunities, those choices, and
Yeah.
and being vulnerable, allowing yourself to be vulnerable. I never pretended to be perfect when I've dated someone. I've always been, and as they get to know me, I will say, yes, I hate filing. I usually file my taxes late. I hate paperwork. I admit the places where I'm kind of a mess, and I'm not ashamed of any parts of myself.
That's such an important piece too. And actually worked on that with my client this morning too, because a lot of stuff is coming up now that she's really doing this boundary work and the communication work and the deeper looking within, is that there's a lot of stuff bubbling up about her past and regrets. And she talked about anger. And what we did was we looked behind the anger, and behind the anger, there was sadness and there was shame, a little bit of shame about things that she had done in her past. And so, it's important to really heal those parts of ourselves that didn't get the right attention when we were younger, and to really feel that we have no regrets in life. It's all a learning experience. And guess what? We get to create what we want from today on. So whoever's listening to this, wherever you are right now is perfect, because the fact that you're listening and you're willing to have better relationships. You may not get 11 or more proposals, but the truth is you only need one. And, if you are looking to get married or even be in a long-term relationship, you want to be seen as the woman of value who attracts these high quality men who say, I want to get to know this woman better because I respect her. I cherish this woman because she loves herself. And every time you set a boundary, you show that self-love and that self-worth that makes a man feel like he's getting a treasure when he gets you. And, it doesn't come from overgiving and overdoing. It comes from loving yourself first and knowing how to set the clear boundaries that will help people know how to treat you.
That important. And then learning, not being afraid to ask also, which I think is a really big skill to practice. And in a lot of the women that I work with, especially in self-defense, we have to get over that fear. And that fear that stops us. And I guess I got to a point somewhere in my life where I realized the fear of not being myself was worse, like not being authentic, not being myself, not asking for what I want, and being with the wrong guy was worse than asking for what I wanted. And then the result was men wanted to be around me. I also feel like I live and I do interesting things. And no matter what, if you ever met those women, once they are dating someone or once they get married, their lives change and their lives get smaller. Well, I never allowed that to happen. I always do interesting things. And that would be something else I would coach to anyone listening. Keep doing the cool things that make you you. Do the things that you love to do. Sandy is a foodie. My God, she's like amazing with cooking. Like, do those things because they bring you joy. And it's so attractive to another person because you're like lights on and bold and, living your life.
Yeah. Boy, did you come alive when you said that. It's like, woo! It's so true though. And it's like so many women, I see it with my daughter's age, my 22-year-old, and how many of her friends have given up their friends, their hobbies, the things that they love. Because a man says, can we go out tonight? Sure. Last minute date? No problem. It is a problem. And you don't want a man to feel like he is your only priority, because in a good, healthy relationship, we balance priorities and you take care of yourself first. That self-care piece is essential. Knowing that you're a much more interesting person when you pay attention to the things you love. So all of what we're talking about is what we teach and what you will learn in our upcoming course, Boundaries for Beautiful Relationships. And we really want to reach more women to get them to get all of you to really be that woman of value who sets clear boundaries. And it's not going to just help your love relationships. It's going to help all of your relationships. Your relationship with your boss, with your coworkers, with your friends, with your children if you have them, with someone you're dating. If you're in a long-term relationship, it will transform that relationship too. because we all need clear boundaries. You and I talk about this all the time. Boundary situations come up throughout our day, every single day. These are skills that we did not get born with. And what we've done is we've learned them because we didn't have them as children. And we had to learn them ourselves. And now we teach them, because it's hard to find these skills curated in one place with so much depth as we will be teaching you in this course. And it starts this Sunday. We have live Q&A calls, a Facebook group. We're giving so much value at a low price, an introductory price. So I really suggest that if you want to learn these skills to make you irresistible, like Theresa,
Job.
join us, please. We would love to have you in the course. And if you have any questions, you can write them in the comments below. We will look after the broadcast ends. So thanks for joining us, and hope to see you in the course.